some new products to share with you today. I have been working on this for a long time, and with everything going on in the world, it's been a little delayed. So what I had for you now is the Misti Lite, the Misti platform, and two different kinds of magnets that you can use with or without it. So we're going to start with the Misti Lite. I'm going to go ahead and open the packaging. And this is not meant to replace your current Misti. This is meant to complement your current Misti. So what you can do with this is you can stamp on any surface. You can stamp anywhere. So you don't need to tuck anything into a corner to get a good stamp. You're just going to use it. You can use it without the magnets. You can use it by itself. Right now I'm working on a glass board and it is magnetic. So I'll show you how that's going to come into play later on. So right now you could use your fingers to hold it in, and you can see that there are there's wording on the very edge. One says clear and one says rubber. So you know which side to use is which one you can read. So right now I'm going to be using the clear side. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stamp on the edge of an envelope. I'm going to be using this Rabbit Hole Designs stamp. I'm just going to place it on my envelope where I want it to go. So what I like about this is that I made sure that the opening of the Misti Lite was big enough for an A2 envelope, so you can tuck it into the corner if you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of try to position it in. So what I'll do is I'll just set it down, and I'm going to use the power magnet to hold it down to the glass board. You can use this magnet, or you can even use one that Glassboard sells, or this one comes from Tailored Expressions. So you only need to buy exactly what you need. So if you already have a magnet, you can use that one. So I've just lined up the envelope and I am tucking it into the corner, and I'm just going to ink it up. Now you could use tape to hold your envelope down, or I'm just using my finger. I'll show you another way to hold your paper down later on. But for now, I just want you to know that you can stamp on any surface. So I'm just going to ink up the stamp, and I'm just going to close the door just like how you would with your regular Misti. And I'm just going to press on it lightly. Now there are little edges on the platform that will keep your stamp that keep the edges from stamping too far. So you do need to, like you do on your Mistis, press down on the lid to make sure that you have good contact. I'm going to go ahead and re-ink it. And there you go. So you can keep stamping it if you want, just like a Misti. Okay, next what I'm going to show you is the Petunia platform. So this is just a work surface. It comes by itself. It doesn't come with anything, just what you see right here. It measures 9.5 by 9.5, I believe. Yep, 9.5 by 9.5. The grid is 8 by 8.5. So you could use this with your platform. You can use it with the magnets, and I have two power magnets here. You do have to buy these separately if you decide to use them, or you could use what you have. It will even work with your bar magnet from your Misti. The bar magnet does not work on the glass board. It's just the glass board is way too thick, but it will work here. And I'll show you in just a second. So I'm going to pull the magnet off, and now this is the bar magnet from your Misti. So you could just use that if you want. So I'm going to set that magnet aside. I'm going to use this one up at the top. That way I can just have both sides are secure. You can use one or two. It's up to you. Or none if you prefer. I am going to use the bar magnet on the Petunia platform, but I'm going to use it to hold my cardstock down. So you can tuck your paper into the corner like you do on a regular Misti, and then you can use your bar magnet to hold your cardstock down. So it would work that way. I'm just going to place my foam stamp where I want it to go, and then I'm just going to close the lid and just ink it up like a normal Misti. Now, some of the stamps are thicker than others, and you can see this here. It will still stamp evenly. So you could use this with, like if you're scrapbooking and you want to stamp in the middle of a layout. You can use this if you are in the middle of a project and you decide that you just want to add one more little element. You can use it for that. It's very versatile and it's very easy to use. Okay, you want to be sure that when you pick your side that you can read which kind of stamp it's for. So one side does say clear and one side does say rubber. Okay, now for the clear side. Now, if you wanted to sprinkle some embellishments with a stamp around so that you don't have to, like on a Misti, you would have to mount it and move it. Here you can just leave it mounted, and then you can sprinkle this little tiny heart all around your card without having to remount anything. So you're going to use it like an acrylic block here. I'm just using the magnet to hold it down so it doesn't slide all over the place on me. So I'm just going to stamp it once, and now I want to move the cardstock around. So I'm just going to remove the magnet, and then I'm just going to move the Misti Lite where I want it to go. And you could either use your hand or use the magnet. I'm going to use the magnet because the stamp is dirty and I don't want it to double stamp. So there you go. Now you can move it again if you want. I'm just going to re-ink it and stamp it one more time, and then I'm going to move the Misti Lite to another location. So I'm going to put a stamp about right there. I like this better than an acrylic block because I have gotten so scared using acrylic blocks. And this way I know for sure that I'm not going to mess up because these are the final touches to your cards. Okay, now here's another use for your platform. I like to use it to stamp in books. So I'm going to take this journal and I'm going to open a page. I'm going to place the platform in the book. And now I'm going to line up the platform so that I could stamp on the corner of the page. So I'm just going to move this down, and then I know that my platform is going to be right in the perfect spot. So I'm just going to use the magnet to hold it down. You can use the bar magnet to hold your sheet down on your journal so that it doesn't move. You can use the mini pawns if you want. These are tiny little pawns. They're so cute. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my stamp, and this is a very, very old Hero Arts stamp. And I'm just going to stamp into the corner. So this would be perfect for Bible journaling, art journaling, any kind of mixed media where you want to stamp inside of a book. And you can stamp as far in as you want. It's just where the seam of the book where you might have a little bit of trouble stamping. But there you go. You can stamp inside of a book now. You do have the ribbon on the edge of the power magnet. You can trim those if you like. You could just seal the edges of the ribbon, or you could just leave them long. It gives you a little bit more to hold on to. It's up to you. There is a little bit of a lip on the magnet, so if you choose to cut them off, you can get your fingertips underneath that tip. These are really strong magnets, and one of the easiest ways to get them off is either to pull the ribbon or to kind of slide it and twist it and lift up. And the magnets are separate. So like I said, you only need to buy exactly what you need. So now I'm going to show you how I like to use the platform the most. I like to do stenciling. And so what I have here is a layering stencil. And what I normally like to do is I like to use a sticky mat. You don't have to use a sticky mat if you want. You could do it however you want, but this is how I like to do it. I'm lining up the corner of the sticky mat to the corners of the edges of the stencil. Now you can line up your cardstock underneath. So I'm just going to use a little layering piece of cardstock, and I'm going to line it up to how I want it on the design. So once it's lined up, I'm going to line everything up with the edge of the sticky mat. You don't have to do it this way. You could put your cardstock down on the platform and just tape it down or adhere it down, but I like to have it in the corner. And usually what I'll do is, if I'm going to make multiples, I'll put a little bit of repositionable tape on the bottom so that I know the next panel where it needs to go. So I'm basically just using that to mark where my next piece will go. You don't necessarily need it if you're just going to be making one panel, but this is helpful if you're making multiples. So I'm just going to put the little piece of tape down. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out a creative corner. If you have these in your stash, you could use them. If you don't, then you could just use your fingers to line everything up. So I'm just going to put it right in the corner. That way I know where my stencil goes each time. And then I'm going to put it on the other end, on the other edge of the stencil. Once that's lined up, I'm good to go. I'm going to use the little tiny ponds. I really like these because they're small and they stay out of your way. So I'm just going to do a little bit of ink blending, and then I'll show you what the next step is. Okay, we're just going to speed through this part because you probably already know how to ink blend. Okay, once you get through your ink blending, I'm just going to cut to the very end of this ink blending so that you could see where I'm done. I'm just going to lift the edge of the stencil up. I'm going to move the mini ponds, and I'm going to carefully just lift that up. And the creative corners have not moved, and so I'm just going to lay down the next stencil down. And so now I could change colors and do the next step. So now you see what I mean about putting that repositionable or that temporary tape on your sticky mat so that you can make multiples of this card. So I'm just going to speed this one up as well. I do enjoy doing the stenciling this way because then I'm able to move the platform where I want. I can pick it up and turn it so that I could reposition my arm. I like the mini ponds because you could just easily move those in between segments of your stencil. And also note that the Petunia platform does fit in the center pocket of your studio bag. So that's one of the reasons why it's designed that size. And it also takes less real estate on your craft desk when you're working on a project. You can clean this off. It is stain resistant. It's not totally stain proof, but it is resistant. Now here is one thing that I really liked. So when you're done with your card, you want to stamp something on the background handmade by you. Now you could either have it folded But most of the time you have embellishments and stuff on the front side. So we're just going to do it open. And what I'm doing is I'm lining up the card so that the bold line is in the middle. So I'm just kind of placing it right there. And I know that that solid line is where the middle of the card should be. So I'm just going to slide my Misti Lite down a little bit so that it will catch that stamp. And now I could stamp the back of my card. And you can stamp this several times. And this way, you don't really have to change the mount of your stamp. You can just easily put it on the back of your card and just stamp to the next one if you want. You can just line it up. It's kind of like the old Fisker stamp press from a long time ago where you just kind of line it up and then you hover over and then you set it down. It's the same thing, but this will let you stamp again and again. So here I'm just showing you where now I want to go in the landscape position. And so I'm doing the same thing. I am lining up my card on the grid so that I know I'm going to move it so that it's a solid line. So it's that dark line. So I know that's where my stamp needs to be. And my stamp is dirty. So I'm just trying to be very careful. And I'm just going to use a mini pond to hold my cardstock in place while I figure out my positioning. I will move it. So I'm just hovering over it to see where I want it to go. And then I'm just going to set it down. And once I set it down, I'm going to put my magnet on there, remove the mini pond, and you can see where I've stained the card already. And I'm just going to stamp again. I hope you really like this new product and that you are going to add it to your collection. So be sure to look at the link in the description on where you can purchase it. And thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.